Hello students, this is another video for revision, that is synchronic and diachronic linguistics. And we had already discussed in the class the concept of synchronic and diachronic linguistics are fundamental to the modern study of language. So finally, what is synchronic and diachronic? These are the concept for study of language. Okay, so first of all, that should be very clear to you what are the two terms synchronic and diachronic. These are the study of language. Okay, so please keep in mind. Now they were notably defined by Ferdinand de Saussure. So please note down this name, which is given by this concept is propounded by Ferdinand de Saussure in his course in general linguistics. This is the book, right? So three things you just have to remember, that synchronic and diachronic are the two terms for study of language, and this concept is given by Ferdinand de Saussure in his book course in general linguistics. Okay, now synchronic linguistics. So synchronic linguistics is the study of language at a particular point of time, right? This is particular point in time. When we do study of any language at a particular point, it is point in time is called synchronic linguistics. Okay, usually the present. So when we do study of language at a particular point of time, or that is present language, how the language, English language or Hindi language, German, Russian, French, whatever is being used at in 2024, 25, 26 means current time. This approach, this study of language is called synchronic linguistics, right? Synchronic. Okay, it focuses, linguistics is the study of language, scientific study of language, we know that. But synchronic linguistics means the whatever all the topics we had discussed in the class, that IC analysis, IPA. First of all, we discussed when session was started, we discussed IPA symbols, which is actually we should be in first unit, because which is the base, right? So then we studied IPA symbols, then syllables, right? Then syllable counting, accent, rhythm, intonation, right? Morphology, phonology, phonemes, graphemes, morphemes, right? History of English literature, English language, right? Then then definition of language, characteristics of language, functions of these all the parts of study of language. How, like how many parts are in a machine? So when we study of a machine, suppose cell phone, right? So when we open the cell phone, then first of all we'll see different parts of the phone, right? You must have seen when that cell phone is repaired in repairing shop, you must have seen that they repair. So then they open, so there's some small wiring and cells and all. Similarly, our parts of language are, so what are the parts? Different cells, right? Parts of speech we have studied that lips, right? And then teeth, ridge, tongue, right? Okay, then how different parts of speech or speech and writing, right? So then how do they work? In which morphology, like how a word is made. But before this we studied IPA symbols, means what are the letters are used. So 44 letters. Why? because of confusion. There is no direct correspondence between a word and sound. That's why, because of different sound, they have given one sound, one symbol to one sound, right? So these are the different areas where we studied in detail phonology, morphology, right, phonetics, right, and then accent, syllables and all. So similarly, when we study, like suppose we are learning French, for example. So all these parts, what we studied, morphology, like French words, morphology of French words, sound. So that's phonology of French words, right? Then phonetics. Phonetics is almost same because same parts of speech we use, right? But then letters, IPA symbol for French words definitely will be different, because different shape and different sound. So these are the whole studies uh, called linguistics. But when we uh, study at a particular time, right, present time, what how English is used in this time, that approach is called synchronic linguistic. But suppose we study right from beginning, from old English to modern English, that approach is called diachronic. Okay, diachronic linguistics. Now synchronic, come to the synchronic linguistic. Reading again, synchronic linguistics is the study of language at a particular point of time, usually the present. It focuses on how the elements of language function and relate to each other. Very important point here, you can learn how the elements of language, I told you, phonology, morphology, right, and so many function, and how they relate to each other within the specific time frame, right? So two things you just have to remember, that in synchronic linguistics we focus on how the elements of language function. Elements of language means morphology, uh, all these I have already told you, that's syllables and all, how do they function and how they are related to each other within the specific time frame, right? Like right now, how words, different new words and old words and pronunciation, how we can say, we can start from 2000, not 2000, we can start from 2010 or 2015 to 2023, suppose. So then how they work, that approach is called synchronic linguistics. Essentially, it is a snapshot of a language. A snapshot, that is just a click of language. You just have to understand very like a final level of grammar and words, vocabulary, right, pronunciation, punctuation, which are using right now. I gave you example, you can quote the same example. Learn English within 99 hours, 90 घंटे में अंग्रेजी सीखिए. So how is it possible within 90 hours, or within limited hours you can learn the language? Means you are doing superficial study. That is, suppose I want to go to South India, I want to move, so I am learning Malayalam, Kannada, whatever, superficially within 90 hours, right? Or in fact, I can give you, suppose I have to teach in Nagpur or Mumbai. So I discussed the same in the class, that you need to have basic idea about the Marathi, then only you can be given good job in Marathi institutions, because they say that any language cannot be taught without vernacular language, knowledge of their local language, and through Marathi you can teach English or Hindi or any language. So that's suppose I am moving to these places, and I know what is base of Marathi. So basics I join, and I am learning Marathi within 90 hours. Means that's a very superficial study, but this I'll be able to speak and write little bit examples and all basic. That approach is called synchronic study of language or synchronic linguistics. Why? Because here just it is just like a snapshot of a language. So these are very important, right? Now characteristics, key characteristics, it examines the internal structure of language, right? It examines what? Synchronic study. What do we do when we do synchronic linguistics, synchronic study of language? So that it examines internal structure of language, including grammar. Internal structure means grammar, vocabulary, right? Then phonology means sound, how these sounds are improved. That's a phonology, right? We have discussed phonology, different like insertion, deletion, different process through which we polish our tongue is the part of phonology as they exist at the moment, that moment, right? Then it is concerned with a system of language. What? Synchronic approach is concerned with the system of language, how its components work together. Components, one component is grammar, then vocabulary, then sound, right? And how they work together. This is called, this is the focus, this is the approach where this is system of a language, how its components work together, like how grammar is used and vocabulary and sound, how they are related with each other. Then it disregards the historical development of language, right? They don't want to believe synchronic linguistic disregards the historical development of language. They don't want to discuss synchronic approach, right? So they disregard the historical means diachronic linguistics, right? They don't want to discuss, right? Then it is often referred to as descriptive linguistics, right? What is descriptive language linguistics? Which is synchronic linguistics or descriptive linguistics. Okay, now example, a synchronic study of language would analyze the grammatical rules and vocabulary used by contemporary English speakers. You all are, including I am contemporary English speakers, because this is the time where I have to learn email language, SMS language, new language, market language, phrases and all. So that if I use that is we are known as contemporary English speakers. So that's the purpose, that you have to survive, you have to move among the people where they speak modern English. So that approaches synchronic study of English would analyze the grammatical rules and vocabulary used by contemporary English speakers. Means what you use, similar words, phrases, clauses, I have to remember, right? Without necessarily considering how those rules and words evolved. Very important part. Without necessarily considering those rules and words evolve. You don't bother how that's grammar is evolved and what right now what's going on. That is your major concern in synchronic study of, that is synchronic study of English. Similarly, now moving to diachronic linguistics. Diachronic is definition. Diachronic linguistics is the study of how a language changes over time. Very important. How a language changes over time, it traces the historical development of language which we had studied in the class, examining how its sound, grammar, and vocabulary have evolved. I told you that once upon a time, this example you can give. Once upon a time, this C, phonetic transcription of this C is this, right? This is C, but that C is pronounced as E, C, right? This C. But now this is common pronunciation for both the words. So this is the development. Many examples you can give, but once you can give the example of thou, you, right, which is replaced by you, the, right, sorry, the, your, that is your, right, then doth is does, so these are the examples can be given here, that how language words are replaced by time to time. It's a gradual process, but it is replaced, right, by new or modern terms. So that is the part of historic, that's a part of diachronic linguistics, and it is the movie of a language showing its progression. So that is complete movie, right? So a very important and interesting thing is that you can give the example that um, synchronic chronic linguistics is the snapshot, right? Snapshot, जस्ट क्लिक, यानी इसको कह सकते हैं हम क्लिक, है ना. वेयर एज डायक्रॉनिक क्रॉनिक लिंग्विस्टिक्स इज दैट इज मूवी, एक मूवी, राइट, एक पूरी पिक्चर, कंप्लीट पिक्चर इज डायक्रॉनिक, है ना. और अगर आप सिर्फ स्नैपशॉट एल्बम देखते हो तो एल्बम इज द example of synchronic linguistics. Very good example. Okay, now what are the key characteristics of diachronic linguistics? It investigates the causes and patterns of language changes, how language change. First cause is that we remember we discussed that tribals, right, Germanic tribes came to Britain, and then that's England, it was England, right? So they attacked to England tribes, and then they brought some words with them, and then new one language, old language, English language was made, right? Then another attack, another region, right, another attack, I forgot, that's a person attacked, right, and then another region, major reason, right, conquest. So he attacked, and then Middle English came into existence, means the form of Old English was changed gradually, right, 450 to 500 around years, that is too much. Then they spoke Old English, then another changes took place, and then the form of language changed, and Geoffrey Chaucer and other authors and writers, and so many reasons, not one reason, so many reasons were there, but then the form, so they spoke Middle English for a long time. Then technology, this is a great reason for modern language, that is why modern period is divided into two parts, like early modern or late modern, right? So early modern, because recently so many changes are there. I told you the example of chillax, right? So I listen who was speaking, that's right now not Vivek Oberoi, right? So that's he was telling that chillax, right? Chillax, right? So that's a chill and relax, right? Chill and relax. So the relax. So these are the new coined word. So that every day we coin the word. So that's a first of all you bother about cause and patterns, how these sentences, phrases, clauses, grammar, pronunciation change, right? How these all these kind of things change when you study about these changes, which is this approach is called diachronic linguistics, right? Then diachronic linguistics explore the relationship between language, such as how they have descended from common ancestors, right? So that's a you have to you just you want to know that how these language different language comes from, like common ancestors means Sanskrit is the mother tongue, right? And from Sanskrit Hindi, right? And then Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam, right? These are called daughter languages or offsprings, right? Offsprings means daughter language, right? And this is mother language, mother tongue. Similarly in English, Greek, Latin, right? And then daughter language is number of daughter language. So when you study all these points, all these points or subpoints in detail, this approach is called diachronic linguistics. Okay, then it's concerned with the evolution of language over extended period. Very important, this the evolution, how these language or words have been evolved. So that is the study, part of study of diachronic linguistics. Then it is often referred to as historical linguistics, right? Why? Because you study history of different language, history of Malayalam, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Marathi, Hindi, English. So here we are talking about English. So that is also mother, like South Indian English, North Indian English, Punjabi English. So when you study, do deep study of all type of Englishes and Englishes, then this is called this approach is diachronic. Okay, now example, a diachronic study of English would trace the evolution of language from Old English through Middle English, right, to Modern English, examining changes in pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. How pronunciation is changed, how grammar is changed, how vocabulary is changed, right? So that this is the study of diachronic grammar, for example, right? So that's how you can give the example of will and shall, right? Will and shall. Once upon a time, shall was used for first person and will for the plural, right? It's not first person, sorry, that's a singular. That's a shall is used for singular and will is used for plural. But now will and shall, so that's a shell somewhat is the it's a fast fading fast fading word, and then we just have to use a plural will for singular and plural. So this example you can give. So this is somewhat grammar. Now pronunciation. So that's the pronunciation we have studied, that the same example you can give, that's a old movies, Hindi movies, if you see that, so they push the word actually. What they dialogues you can listen, old movie dialogues. So they say that nahi, नहीं हमने ऐसा नहीं कहा था. This way they very slowly and then very artificially they speak. But nowadays that's a longer vowels change and shifted to Short vowels. People speak use very short vowels. This is a major change, right? So you can talk, you can give example in pronunciation. That's a short vowels. Now modern generation use short vowels, right? Instead of long vowels. Long vowels, all long vowels. You just remember. This is long vowel. This is long vowel. Long vowel. Long vowel, right? And then these are the long vowels. Okay, so that's a e, right? And so that sheep, right? This way, once of sheep. Now we use sheep, not sheep or ship. Ship or sheep are both are different, but that these are the long vowels. Once upon a time, for maximum words, people use long vowels, but now they don't. Young generation don't use long vowel. Instead, they would like to use short vowels, and that's why short vowels is this, not this, right? This, not this, right? So they don't use this, right? This they use, they would like to use. So these are the examples. Okay, now key differences. Time perspective. So what are the differences between synchronic and diachronic? Synchronic is, that's a synchronic linguistics focuses on a single point in time, right? That is the focuses in single point in time, while diachronic linguistics focuses on changes over time. These are the changes over time, and that is single point in time. This is the base time perspective. Main difference is time perspective, right? Number two, you should write in exam also. Number two, focus. Synchronic linguistics emphasize the structure of language. They emphasize the structure of language, while diachronic linguistics emphasizes its evolution. So this is the difference. Structure in synchronic, we focus on structure, and diachronic linguistics focus on evolution. Okay, now in essence, synchronic linguistics gives us a static view of a language, while diachronic linguistics provides dynamic view. They give static view and they give dynamic view. Means static view means in this period only. Dynamic view means different stages, right? Different stages from here to here to here, that modern. That is right. Both perspectives are crucial for comprehensive understanding of language. So both perspectives are very important, crucial for a comprehensive understanding. So means both are equally important. We should know current language and we should know history. As a literature student, as a language student, you should know the history. Why? Because history is very important. Suppose you don't know the history of India and all, so our base will be like weaker. So we have to know what's the base, because history is our base. So that's both the approaches are very important. So I think you must have got little idea about this approach, and if you have any question, any query, most welcome, please ask me. Thank you so much.